Hey guys, a few days ago I had the pleasure of talking to Debi Derryberry, who you may know as the voice of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, and who is also playing Coco Bandicoot in the Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy. I hope you enjoy the interview.
Well, I'm certainly pleased that everybody was so gung-ho for another Crash Bandicoots. I just never really... I don't play games, so I didn't realize how darn popular it was and how, big the community was. And when we recorded it, everybody was so excited and they knew so much about it, and I didn't know nothing. I just go into the studio and do my thing.
Yeah, it's really big, especially because it's such a nostalgic thing, I think, at least for my age group.
Yeah.
I mean, I was playing the games when I was probably 7 or 8 years old.
Oh.
So to see them remastered is awesome because, you got the better graphics and it's the same game. It has the same heart, but, now you can play it on your PS4 and it looks so much nicer and the sound is better. And I think we were all really excited to see this.
Yeah, seems like it certainly made a lot more Twitter followers. Did you follow me on Twitter?
I did. I've actually been following you for a while.
Oh, thanks, Jeanette.
Yeah.
Have you watched F Family yet?
I haven't yet. I was watching other interviews with you and I saw that you were doing that and I hadn't heard of the show. So I'm going to check it out.
Are you easily offended?
No.
Okay, then I would say go on and watch it. Otherwise, if you're easily offended, I would stay far away. It's pretty raunchy, but it's so funny.
Does it have kind of a Family Guy vibe? I said, I haven't watched it yet, but...
A little bit. It's like that. It's just a little more raunchy than that.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll go in prepared.
Okay, yeah.
It's on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So, you started voicing Coco in about 2001, right?
Yeah, I think so, because my kid was just young. Just born. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Did you ever think that you'd still be voicing her, 16 years later?
No, never did I think that. I don't think I've had any games that have done that, gone on for so long. I mean, they all have their fans. Guild Wars has really great fans, and, Jimmy Neutron obviously has great fans, but the longevity of Coco is pretty crazy. When I'm at conventions, I'm always amazed. All the people that love it. No, didn't think it would go on for 16 years.
When you first auditioned for her, how did you create her voice and her character?
Well, I think it was based on her personality of being bossy and kind of full of herself. And out of that came my bossy, full of yourself voice.
Crash! My battery is fried. Make yourself useful, big brother, and bring an extra battery for me.
It wasn't too much of a stretch from some moods that I'm in frequently, and I kind of based her also off, I work with people of all ages, but I pay special attention to the teenage group, and that's kind of where she is. Only she's pretty worldly, she's been around a lot. So that's kind of how I created the character. It wasn't a big stray from where my normal voice is, and I think although she can insult her brother, I don't know if you have siblings, but...
I do.
I can talk bad about him, and I can punch him, but nobody else better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she definitely has that kind of little sister vibe, where she's a little snotty sometimes.
Yeah. And she can do it, but nobody else better do it.
So, a lot of times when you go in to voice a video game character, at least from what I've heard, you don't have a lot to really go on. Like, you might have a picture maybe, but Coco was already an established character.
Yeah.
Was it easier? I mean, did you, because you kind of had a little bit more to go on?
I didn't even pay attention. I didn't pay attention to what she sounded like before at all. I don't think I even listened to her or played her. Just came up with my own. And I imagine if they wanted what they had before, they would have used what they had before.
That's very true. So you've done everything. I mean, you've done on camera, you've done animation, video games, anime. Do you have a favorite? Like what you really enjoy doing most?
Gosh, I suppose it's all really fun. I love, creating characters. So being able to do like a character from the ground up, as opposed to an anime where the character's already drawn for you and the animation's already done and you go in and you dub it. Mm-hmm. If you do like a Nick or a Disney cartoon where you do the voice fresh and then they send it to animation, I think I like that a little better just because it's more creative. Although it's a really difficult and learned skill to be able to do anime and video games. Video games, you're really married to a time slot. You don't have the freedom of taking your time with the length of how long you say things.
Oh, okay.
Because they are married to a particular time code. So if there's a line, you have to get it in that amount of time. You don't have a lot of time to fluff it up and laugh and giggle and guffaw unless you get it in that time code. So I think probably Western animation is my fave, although everything has its attractions. Like I would say anime, I love the fan base. Video games, I love the fan base and the in and out. The sessions aren't quite as long. Of course, they're more stressful.
Yeah. I would imagine, too, that it would be a lot of fun to do animation or Western animation because you are probably there with the other actors. You're not by yourself.
I think it used to be that way more. It's not so much like that anymore. They like to record you separately because when they get a bunch of voice artists in the same booth, then we start cutting up and we're more expensive because we take more time. And with video games, you're always alone. With anime, you're always alone. So with Western animation, sometimes you're with other people, and that's really fun.
I think that not a lot of people know just how difficult anime is because the animation's already done.
Yeah.
And you need to match your voice to their lip flaps, which it's not the same as just saying the line, acting the line. You also have to worry about time. And I don't think a lot of people know that. I mean, for me growing up, I would watch Pokemon and I would sit there and look at the screen and go, why isn't the mouth movement like what he's saying? I had no idea that it was dubbed.
Now with the engineers being so amazing on Pro Tools or whatever software they're using, they're able to sync you up a little better. Whereas back in the Speed Racer days, you noticed a huge difference in the flaps and the voice. But it still does take a lot of training and skill and alertness in the booth. Like, you cannot be off your game. Hold on one second. Sorry. Yeah, you got to be on your game for anime because it is a lot to process at the same time. It's eyes, it's words, it's timing, it's lip flaps, it's exertions, and, of course, in anime, they're always gasping and guffawing and landing and flying and screaming. Yeah, it is a skill set that is learned. It's not easy to just jump into it.
Right. So how did you break into voiceover? I think I heard that you were pre-med at one point?
Yeah, I was a pre-med at UCLA. And I have always written songs and sang and acted, but my dad told me it would be a very difficult way, if impossible, to make a living. So I did it for fun and realized I didn't want to go to medical school. I wanted to go sing no matter what. So I didn't go to medical school. I moved to Nashville.
Oh, wow.
But the only jobs I got were session singing, jingle work as a kid's voice. I never got hired as a grown-up voice. So then I, got an agent, was doing on-camera, munchkins, elves, boy clowns, standing in body double work for little boys, anything that required my skill set. And somebody told me about cartoons, and I don't know if you know who Scott Menville is.
Sounds familiar.
He's a voice artist, but his mom at the time was out there with Scotty when he was 12 years old in Nashville, and I was body doubling Scotty Menville, and his mommy said, why don't you do voiceover cartoons, and here's some people you can contact. So I sent my little cassette to these directors in Los Angeles, and they said, good voice, but you gotta move back to LA. So I did. I moved back to LA and signed with an agent that week and started working the next week. And that was 30 years ago.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was really fortunate.
Well, especially after, hearing this probably isn't the wisest path to go on, and you ended up acting anyway. Yep.
Well, voice acting is acting, and singing is acting, and on camera, I'm still doing a little on camera. It's all acting to me. They're drilling outside my house, so it's loud.
Oh no.
So that's how I got into it, and luckily I've been able to make a living at it my whole life. Well, for the last 30 years anyway. Yeah, it's been great.
Something I found out recently is that you actually teach up-and-coming voice actors. You wrote a book, you do workshops, and you even do private coaching, right?
I do, and I really don't know how it happened. Somebody wanted me to coach him on something or talk to him about voiceover, and I eventually had to start making appointments and charging, and then I thought there's so much to say, so I wrote a book, and now I have private students and the top voice agencies DPN, William Morris, they send me people that they want me to work with for animation and commercials. So I'm busy all the time, and I just schedule my students in between my sessions. Yeah, I kind of do it all. And it's really satisfying, and I love to help people. And I think there's a disconnect. People think it looks really easy.
Yeah.
But it's not.
There definitely seems to be this common misconception that it's just reading off a sheet of paper. Like, and that's it. And that's definitely not. That's not what you do.
Right. And I'm not a really nice teacher. I mean, I charge people. I don't want to blow smoke, you know?
Yeah.
Not tell them the truth and not really help them out as much as I can and guide them and put them in the right direction. I do think there's a place for everybody. You know, someone without the animation skills might be great in narration or promo or commercial, or someone who thinks they have a little girl's voice, but they don't. And I don't want them wasting their time. I'll tell them where I think their voice lies. And there are those of us that really sound like kids. You know, me, Tara, E.G.
Yeah.
We really do sound like kids. And if you want to enter the business, you better be able to compete with us. And if you can't, I want you to be somewhere where you can compete. So I just really try to be honest and guide people and help them as best I can.
I think that's so awesome. I've heard you say that before, that you really work with your students to find where they fit in the market.
Yeah.
You probably have had students who really like a certain style or a certain character, but that may not work for them. But I think it's really cool that you kind of focus on their specific uniqueness, because like you said, everybody kind of has their place. Knowing what your strong suit is got to be invaluable in that industry.
Keeping in mind, that's just, you know, what I think their strong suit is.
Right.
You know, it's right, but I've seen a lot, you know, and I hope that, you know, that'll kind of give someone an idea on maybe where to start.
Right. At least in my experience, I've had comments on my YouTube channel of people saying, you know, I want to do YouTube, but I hate my voice and it's not good. And I just, you know, say, hey, everybody has a unique voice. I hated my voice. I think a lot of people do until they get used to hearing it, because I always thought it was very low and I thought I should sound differently, and I don't. You know, you kind of have to embrace what you do have and work with it best you can.
Yep. Yeah. You kind of have to not be offended by getting pigeonholed. You know, I can do all voices of all ages, but I get booked mostly for little girls, teens, little boys. That doesn't mean I can't do moms and grown-ups and old ladies. So when they think of who does the best mom, I don't necessarily come to mind, although I can do an awesome mom. So when they get me in the booth, then if they need a mom, there I am, but that's not what they hired me for. So I don't get offended that I have this pigeonhole that's what I do.
Right, because you know, you might fit better as the daughter, and then you might have another actor who fits better in the role of the mother. It's not a personal thing, it's just...
Yep.
Would you say that you would have to have a pretty thick skin to do what you do? Because you get a lot of rejection?
You know, I don't look at it that way. I think some people do, and maybe that's not the personality that is needed for this business. I don't really look at it as thick skin. I look at it as I wasn't quite right for that project. I'd be right for this other project, and I don't really look at it as rejection. I look at it as, you know, they found the right person for that job, and, you know, maybe they needed someone with 6 toes, and I only had 5. It's not my fault. As long as I bring what I bring to it and I do a great job, I enjoy the process. You have to enjoy coming in and auditioning every day, because that's what you do most of the time. Very little of the work is actually going in and recording and what people think of when they think of voice artists. Most of my time is spent auditioning, researching, going from place to place, getting in front of my mic. So that's the part you better enjoy. And that's what I do enjoy, the whole business.
I think that's a really healthy way to look at it, because I think so much of, you know, auditioning is about, well, did you make it? Did you get the part? I mean, even back in high school and, you know, before that, like, that was kind of the focus. I think that puts just so much pressure on you.
Yeah, you know, if you're like, I didn't book that, they didn't like me, just get out. Just get out of the business now, because you're just going to be beating yourself up every day. You know, maybe you book 1 out of every 200 spots. That's how many auditions you have to do, really. So you better just enjoy the auditioning.
Yeah, you pretty much have to, considering what a huge part of the job it is. I mean, it's all the time if you're going to make it a career.
Yep, all the time. And it's networking, and it's remembering people, or any business requires reaching out and knowing people and establishing connections. That's kind of what it's all about.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because if somebody knows you and they're like, oh, Debbie would be great for this part, you kind of get that connection that way. I would imagine you have to be pretty social, not just sort of introverted.
Yeah, I mean, there are people voice artists that are introverted, that aren't really social, but maybe they're so amazing at what they do that they don't have to get out there and do stuff, but it helps.
So when you're working with students, do you help them with auditions, like tips to get through an audition?
Yeah, if it's their first audition, I certainly help them through with it. Or we do the auditions here at home. But if you're going for a in-person, well then, I do let them know what to expect, where to look, who to look at, who to meet, what to say, what not to say. I think there's a lot that you can find out before you go in, and I do try to help people with that for sure.
Awesome. So you've said that Western animation is probably your favorite style. What's your favorite kind of character to play, or where do you feel most comfortable?
Gosh, good question.
You've played so many. I mean, just looking through your IMDb is like, holy crap.
I'm comfortable with all of them. As long as I'm in the character, I can just stay there forever, and it's all really fun. I think it would be easier for me to say where I'm least comfortable.
Oh, okay.
That's probably as a drill sergeant. If I was a soldier in an army barking out commands, that's probably where I'm least confident. But everywhere else, I feel pretty, it's all the same to me. I love it all. In fact, every single character I do, I listen to it. It all sounds like me. It all sounds exactly the same to me. But that's just because it's me,
Yeah.
But they are very distinct characters with different personalities and different things that set them off and different things that turn them on and different accents, regionals, age, weight, affectations. All that stuff just is a part of each character. So much fun.
Do you have a favorite character that you've played? That must be really hard.
There's a few faves, like, of course, Jimmy Neutron. Jackie on Bobby's World was super fun. Of course, Maureen on F is for Family. You have got to watch it, Keita. I play like 8 characters on the show.
Really?
I'm also Kenny, the little redneck with the dappers. And I'm also Philip, if you just started, then you won't know what happens with Philip. But stuff happens with little Philip on the bicycle, the little redhead across the street neighbor. So F is for Family, Howie Mandel's Bobby World, Jimmy Neutron, and of course Crash Bandicoot, because so many people love it, but I don't really remember a lot about it because she's not in it a lot. She's just in it when she's in it. And then there's the things that people remember, like on Toy Story, the little guys in the bubblegum machine where they're going, pick me, pick me.
You mean was it the aliens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may have taken us 6 or 7 minutes to do that, but it has lived for 20 years,
Yeah. And people, certain lines or quotes or, everybody, like, when they think Jimmy Neutron, they think got a blast,
Or like in Nemo, the seagulls going, mine. That wasn't scripted. We just decided to do that, and then it became all popular.
So you were in Finding Nemo?
Is that the movie that mine?
I think so. Yeah. Now I'm like second guessing myself, but I'm pretty sure it was. But I'm just like, I didn't even see that on your IMDb page. You have done everything.
Everything. Yep. So those are my favorites, but I like a lot of them.
Have your kids played any of the video games that you've been in?
My kid, no. He came into video games at Grand Theft Auto.
Ah.
And maybe some Mario. And maybe some Lucky's Tale. But we don't have an Oculus Rift, and now he's interested in other things. So I only have one kid, and he was not playing games during the Coco time.
Oh, okay. But I'm sure, like you said, you've had tons of fans, coming up to you at conventions and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to know where you're located on the internet so that people can find you and follow you and all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's at Debi Derryberry. My YouTube is Debi Derryberry. And Instagram and Snapchat. I'd love it if they'd all follow me on there, and they're all Debi Derryberry. Do you want me to email it to you, or can you just go find them?
I can find them, and I will put them in the description links so that you guys can easily just click, and you can go follow her. And you also have a website, too.
I do, Debbie at DebiDerryberry.com. Yeah, and as long as you spell it right, you'll be home free.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with me. I had a blast. I hope you did too.
You're welcome. I did, thank you. And again, apologize for the delay, but good luck to you with everything.
Oh, thank you so much. And you as well. And I will have to check out F is for Family.
Yes, do it.